Hi, this is Sheridan Hansen with USU Extension. I'm here to talk to you today about an alternative technique to starting your seeds, and that is called soil blocking. And that is where instead of using a plastic cell tray, we are going to start without that. We're going to make soil blocks, and that is all that is going to hold our seeds together. And these soil blocks actually break apart, and they're very individual so that we can take those plants apart and actually plant them in the ground. There are a few things that you're going to need. You're going to need some kind of soil blocker, and you can usually find these online. They come in different sizes. So you can see I have a very small one here. This one creates about 20 little soil blocks. And I have a little bit larger one here. This one creates about 4 different soil blocks. And then I have this great big, it looks like we need more cowbell, right? This great big soil blocker. You'll notice that inside of these, there are some pegs and different things inside. These will help accommodate us planting a seed, or like this one, you can see it's exactly the same size as an individual block from this blocker. So I can take this block and I can pot it up to this size. So it gives me options for size control and space management. I'm also going to need some kind of tray to start on. You can use a tray just like this, a plastic tray. I've also used cafeteria trays, which you can see here. I've got some soil blocks right here started. And the cafeteria trays work great. I just don't want something that has some drainage in it because I'm going to be watering these from the base up. So I'm going to fill this tray with water and let these soil blocks absorb that water. All right, so let's get started. Oh, I also need some potting mix. And you'll see that I've got 2 different bags here. I have a general potting mix here, which has some peat moss in it. It also has some little pieces of wood, things like that. You want something that's fairly fine, that doesn't have great big pieces of wood, but you do want it to have a good amount of peat moss in it or coconut coir. That's going to hold the block together. It's actually going to create kind of a stickiness with the soil. I also want, and this is compost here, this is going to add some nutrients to my soil block. And this compost has these little tiny white dots in it, and this is called perlite, and perlite is very important to this mix. When I am compressing these soil blocks together, I don't want to compress so much that I lose the ability for the roots to move through these blocks. So having something like perlite opens up that mix and opens up that block so that I can move water and move roots and air through this block. Okay, let's get mixing. So when we mix, we're going to use a 1-to-1 ratio. So I'm going to use 1 part compost and 1 part potting mix. So I'm just going to start filling this mixing trough. So there's 2, let's do 3. So 3 parts of compost, and now I'm going to use my potting mix. Has a lot of peat in it. And I know that peat isn't the most sustainable thing, so if you can use coconut coir, do that. Coconut coir should be washed though. It can have some salinity issues, so a lot of salt. So make sure that if you do purchase that it is washed. This is kind of similar to those little peat pots that you maybe had as a kid in one of your like little grow kits that you added water to, and it was a little flat disc and it popped up. Those have a little tiny fabric wrapper on the outside. This is very similar to that. It just doesn't have that fabric wrapper. And if you're one of those people that's very concerned about our environment and you don't want to use a lot of plastics, this is a great alternative to getting your seeds started. All right, so I've mixed this up really well. The next step is I need to add some water. And I need this to be wet so that it will kind of stick together, but I don't want it to be sopping wet. And I'll kind of show you what I mean. So I'm going to add a little water here. We're going to get dirty now. And I'm just going to mix this in, and you can see it starting to clump together. And I know that I'm getting some good moisture here. And you can see those clumps, they're sticking together nicely. So I've got a good mix. I've got the right mix that is going to stick. So when I pick this up and I squeeze it, I might have a little water come out, but not so much that it's just dripping off of my hand. I think we're good on water. I think we got it. The next thing I'm going to do I'm going to start with this little blocker. It's a 2-inch blocker. This is the one I use most often. It gives me enough room for those roots to really get going and grow without me having to pot up very quickly. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to start compacting that soil into those blocks. Sometimes it doesn't want to stick totally, but you can see it's really getting in there. I can use my hands just to help it along just a little bit if I feel like I need a little more. And once you get the hang of this and kind of get going and moving, it actually goes very quickly. So once I have that, let's switch this. I'm going to take my tray. This is a great reusable tray, and I'm going to put my soil block right here. As I push down and lift, so I'm going to push on this top handle and I'm going to lift this lever right here with my hand. And as I lift, that is going to compact my block. And you can see as I pull away, I've got 4 little blocks ready to be planted. So I can keep doing this. I can fill up. Let's do one more. We'll fill up our tray. And if you don't get this perfect the first time, you can practice. You can dump these back into the mixing container that you have and try again. Practice makes perfect. You just kind of have to get the swing of things. And once you've got it, it starts to go very quickly. I can do one of these trays really quite fast. So there's our second row of blocks. Once we've got this down, we can go ahead and we can plant. And you can see in these blocks, you can see on the top here, it creates this little indent for me. This little indent is where I'm going to plant my seeds. So if I wanted to plant a beet in one of these, I could take my beet seeds and I'm going to put it down just inside that little indentation. And then I can come back and very lightly backfill. Your seeds should be planted to a depth of 3 times the depth of what their width is. So, you know, I've got these little beet seeds. You can see they're quite small. I'm going to go 3 times deeper than what I have there, which is really about what this soil blocker gives me. If I've got a smaller seed, I'm just not going to backfill so much on the top of it. And some of our seeds that need light to germinate, if you're growing cut flowers, you don't even backfill. You just place those on the top of the surface and they will eventually germinate and root. I can take this, I can cover this with a plastic dome, I can cover it with a piece of plastic wrap, and that will help to trap the heat, and I can place it on a heat mat if I need heat for germination. Okay, so right here you can see that I've got some soil blocks already set and things growing in them. I've got 2 different kinds of plants here, and I really like these cafeteria trays. They're heavy, I can reuse them over and over again, and they're just the right size for me to do 20 blocks and separate out in the middle, so I can do 2 different varieties in this small space. Over here I have yarrow, and over here I have feverfew, and the feverfew is taking a little bit longer to germinate than the yarrow, but I did check it, and I do have little tiny baby plants just starting to come through. You can see I use this 2-inch soil blocker just right there, and you can see how nicely it works. Now I planted 2 seeds per cell here, and I will come back and I will thin out once I know what's germinated and what hasn't. I will thin out and make sure that I have just 1 seed per cell in this cute little soil block pack. So that's it. Simple, easy. Hope you guys have fun with this and enjoy. Happy gardening.